without further ado, I'm just going to let's just do this. Get up here. John and Jazz, get up here.
Get up here.
Come on up here. They're going to be our first one this morning. I will kind of, I'll give them that one. So as you guys know, we're doing our Life Together series, and we've got 2 more interviews on the tails of our last week of our interviews. And this morning we've decided to ask Jasmine and John to come up here, and we're just going to hear about how their 2024 went. So as you guys know, the Life Together series is really about us as the church being able to get a glimpse into some of the lives of our church family and sort of what they've been up against, sort of what they've been celebrating in 2024, and what have been challenges of 2024. And then at the end, we're going to have one more interview, and at the end, we're going to be able to pray for them as well. So it's going to be really awesome. Before we get into it, do you guys still like our Christmas decorations? Do you guys think we should take them down? Oh my gosh, wow, okay. We only kept these up because on Luke Gower's request. Luke Gower said, keep the Christmas ornaments and decorations up for another couple weeks. And so, Luke, hey, you got your way. So I guess we're going to keep them up longer just for you. End of January? That's a little long.
No.
Okay. All right, so without further ado, I will give this mic to you, and then I will grab that mic. So here you go.
Thanks.
Yay.
Wow.
This is exciting.
So this one should be working. There we go. As I almost fell off the stage. All right, so John and Jazz this morning, you guys know the questions. You got the cheat sheet.
Could
right?
you go over them again?
No, we can't go over it. We're going to go over one at a time. But first, before we get into the questions, just like we did last week with some of the other interviewers, just give us a little quick synopsis of where your life is at right now, really quick, what's going on, and all that stuff. So without getting into the questions part. So maybe like how long you've been here, when you got here, blah blah blah. How about that? Little history behind.
All right, we can do that. All right. Well, I moved out here 2016, and I think within that year, I started coming here. I was looking for churches, and I tried another one, and then I came here, and I was like, I'll sit in the back, and I'll just sneak out, which was, if you know this place, that's not an option. So a bunch of people were like, oh my gosh, you're new. Hi, hello. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, and then I just kept coming, and then Chad
you can't be a stranger here.
Well, no, and then
It's hard.
Chad kept asking me to hey, do you want to volunteer for stuff? And I'm like, no, I don't. And then I didn't actually become a member and start coming regularly until I worked in the office, and Mario was like, you have to come. You have to show up. You have to be a member. So I'm like, all right. But yeah, so I started coming, and I love this place. So everyone's pretty great. So
Shameless plug.
I
Yes.
know.
John?
Yeah. My story's super complicated. There's a lot of twists and turns, but I'll get the really short version. Basically, I came to Maine when I was 13, 14. My parents were missionaries in Brazil, so I was down there. We were down there as a family for a while, and we came to Maine. And my dad used to pastor up in West Paris. And then after that, I kind of went to a bunch of different churches. I was kind of looking for a place, and lo and behold, I decided to do something really wild and try dating online. Mm-hmm. And
No shame.
it was a new experience, and I got really lucky because I wasn't on there for very long because that's how I kind of got introduced to Jasmine. And I
keep correcting that. Their name is fine.
You got me started on it. But, and then I was just like, hey, I'll stop by and I'll say hi. And we met for about 7 minutes, and then I left. And then she texted me again and said, hey, let's actually plan a day to hang out. And then from there, that's kind of how it all started.
And then you just kept coming.
And I just kept coming because you
coming?
guys are so great. And same thing, you guys are just very I get greetable and yeah.
Yeah.
And we have really amazing men's breakfasts with really awesome food.
That's true. Yeah.
So that keeps
And you
you
guys
coming.
have like food all the time.
Yeah, we
It's
do.
fantastic.
It's
Yeah.
always food here.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me coming.
All right, so let's jump into the questions this morning. First is this. Share with us a moment in 2024 that was cause for celebration for you.
Oh.
That might be a hard one to figure out, but share with us, obviously the obvious one, but maybe there's another one there too that maybe is not so obvious, but share something about 2024 that has been a cause of celebration for you guys in your life.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess the most obvious one would be the wedding, obviously.
Yay!
Yay! We got married in October. If you guys didn't know that, super exciting. So that was super exciting. Other things, I have a new godson and a new goddaughter. One of them is like super chunky, and I just want to like. So that's pretty great. That's kind of. I don't know, this year was full of a lot of exciting things. Like my mom turned 60, my sister had a baby, my sister-in-law had a baby, we got married, we had all the wedding things going on like all year. So, I don't know, all of that was worth celebrating.
A lot of celebrating.
lot of celebrating, a lot of traveling, a lot of planning.
Tell
on all
us
parts.
about the wedding and all of that.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was
Because,
great.
a lot of people weren't
It's
able
great.
to go, so all they see is pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the... I don't
It
know.
was
There you go,
like
Jim.
Jazz spent like I made sure I gave her enough time to plan it because she's a big planner. So after a year of planning, everything it really did go better than I hoped for. Everyone was just so great and literally no problems at all with anything. And even people that were here at the church were incredibly helpful. Like Jim, for example, was just really good at talking with me and getting me mentally prepared for what I was about to do, and just being just super encouraging, and as well as Chad, obviously, just being there and being the officiant for the wedding was
I don't
really
think anyone
cool.
can mentally prepare for life with Jasmine,
Oh,
right? Right? Okay.
You
But
just
anyway.
gotta live it.
Yeah, you got to live it.
And then at that point...
You got to live it.
and you realize it's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good answer.
He's doing it.
Any celebrations for you personally, John, this year, on a personal note? Besides, obviously, being married
Yeah,
to
I
Jazz.
mean, just good stuff throughout the whole process. I mean, it was like it was a lot to get prepared for, whether it was moving or figuring out how we were going to do everything. But again, we ended up in gray, which was fantastic. It worked perfectly for us because we're literally in dead center of like where our jobs are. We're even closer to the church too, which is
weird. You wouldn't
really
think so.
great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's been
Yeah.
something to celebrate. So yeah.
Finding an apartment stuff.
Challenges. Talk about maybe one of the one challenge, many challenges.
Planning a wedding is not
2020
easy.
Yeah, right.
And they don't they're like, oh my gosh, it's so stressful, it's so stressful. But they don't tell you how stressful it is. And then the different levels of stress you get as you go, because at the beginning it's like you have all of these things, and then towards the end you're like, I'm done with those things, but now you have all the details and you have to get all the itty bitty little things, and then people are like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do that, and then you're like, oh, that's fine, it's fine. So it's a lot. So planning the wedding, and then trying to figure out where we're gonna go, and for moving, and the moving process of when things were gonna get moved to the new place, and the cleaning process, and all that stuff, while also having to work full time. So I'm trying to work while of course I was just I'm going to be on Pinterest real quick, or let me just draft up my RSVPs real quick. There's nothing going on, it's fine. But just all of it is just it's so much. And then trying to not put so much pressure on it at the same time, because it's yeah, it's the wedding, this is the big day, but it's also what is the point of the wedding and what are we doing? So I had to continuously remind myself of what we were doing and what the point of it was, because we did have I had a couple meltdowns, and I even had a moment that I was just getting so mad at him, because I was you're not I need you to take initiative, I need you to know what are we doing, and he's what do you want me to do? I'm like, I need you to not ask. I need you to just do it. And like, just know what I'm thinking,
That
know
doesn't
my
work.
vision.
That does not work with us.
Well, I had a whole
we need
meltdown.
instructions, directions, specifics.
I know. And I was like, well, I don't want to have to give you that. Just know. Just look at the Pinterest board and know. And I was getting so mad, and like we had like a moment that I was like legit, like I'm crying, I'm upset, and he's like, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, just do better, I don't know. And like, but then like, and so like we had a moment, we cried, we hugged it out, and then like literally like that night, like he left and I was laying in bed, and like I had like I felt like God was just like, okay, I get it, but like, he's trying to figure out where you're going to live, and you're mad he's not helping you plan a party. Like, that's what I felt. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So after that, I was just like, I'm sorry for getting really mad. It's a lot of stress. Yeah. So, but he did really good at trying to just like make sure, like check in with me, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, what do you need from me? Like, how are you feeling? And all that. But it was a lot. Yeah. It's a lot.
I mean, she did say, as soon as she said sorry, I was like, you don't need to. I did deserve it, because I'm a very relaxed, like, easy going, like, I will do whatever, like, just let me know what to do. But there was a part of me that was like, man, I really should have been I should have seen that coming. I should have been on top of it. So when she said that, I really did kind of be like, all right, I need to actually do something and figure out what she needs and just try to meet her expectations in that way. Yeah. So it was kind of a fun moment, just being like, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, you're sorry. Like, just back.
It's a first big fight.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was a fight, but it was just
it was close.
Yeah. It was just a lot of just like
heated fellowship.
Yes.
Yeah. Heated fellowship. Yeah. Yeah. It's more accurate.
Interesting term. Yeah.
All
right, John, how about you? Was there anything specific for you in 2024 that was a challenge for you, a struggle for you?
It was a wild year, I would say. We had, so I have I call him my fake uncle. He's just been he's like an uncle to me. He's been a part of our family for so long, and he's just like hardworking, just God-fearing person, and he had cancer diagnosed, and that was really like a tough time, and just trying to figure out how to handle the situation. And he's not married, doesn't have like a big family, so it's kind of been my family that's been with him and forever now. And he would. I think it was in the spring he ended up being cancer-free. Wow. So which was awesome. Huge, and that was really great. And now recently we've found out that he just got re-diagnosed, which is one of those things that it just kind of doesn't ever really leave. It just keeps coming back if something happens, like you get sick, and it's a ongoing thing. And my mom has just been with him like the whole time, so it's been hard on my mom and my sisters, but they're just so my mom is one of those people that just always can be positive in any situation, no matter what it is. And so that was a tough one. And then small stuff here and there, but in the most part, besides that, I mean, there was a lot of blessings that came through that, and getting closer to family, and being seeing like what it is that they mean to you. And it was just there was struggle. And when it came to the wedding, though, I mean, it was really not like a huge, like, hard, difficult. I was very excited. He was the groom.
He was fine. Yeah, he had no problems.
Yeah. So excited. It was like I knew it was like the one thing. I'm like, when it happens, it's gonna be unbelievable. It's gonna be just a crazy experience that it's once in a lifetime. So through all that, really, it was like God was really giving me just both sides of just the good and the bad, and how to just find a way through it and be positive as much as you can.
That was the last question. How do you feel like God kind of met you in these moments, both celebrating moments and moments of struggle. How do you feel like, God really met you in those moments and ministered to you guys and gave you strength? So you kind of shared a little bit, Jazz, but just kind of like our ending question. How would you guys characterize that?
Well, I mean, the whole season of like prepping for marriage was also like in the middle of me getting worked up and being like, oh my gosh, like we have all this stuff to do. And then it's like stepping back and remembering, okay, like what are we doing this for? And like, where am I going with this? And then also having moments of like, okay, so now I'm still in this season of like technically single, I'm engaged, but still single. And I'm like, I still have this place and I love having my own space. So I'm mentally preparing that now I have to share a space. So it's like, okay, like I'm excited for marriage, but I'm also really going to miss this. And so it's like, just I miss having my own space. He's great. No, he's great. It's great. But just like, it's a season that I've waited for. Like marriage is a season I've waited for 32 years. I don't know how old I am. 32 years. And now it's like, okay, like I'm so excited. I'm so focused on that. But then it's like, okay, but like, don't forget where you are kind of a thing. So it's like, just, I don't know. It was just like, it was a really precious moment because I was also like, oh, I just want to go and get this wedding done because I'm so stressed out. But I'm like, oh, like this is so good. And I know I'm going to look back on this and be like, oh, this is so sweet. And my singleness time was so amazing. So, so just, just like going through it and like trying to remain in the moment and remembering like, okay, this is what I'm working for, this is what I'm prepping for, this is what I've been preparing for, and now we're like here. So it's also just trying to be grateful of like where I'm at and where I've been and all the things that I've gone through. So just the whole process of like meeting him and getting married was just a huge blessing and just like a prayer answered, and just a whole remembering of like all the things that I've went through and why I waited and why I was trying to remain on the path and like what I wanted and like staying vigilant in that and remaining in the word and remaining like on the path of like what I felt God wanted for me. Yeah. And I definitely felt that like with the wedding, and even my dad was just continuously like, are you good? Are you sure? Day before, like 2 days before, he called. He's like, how you doing? How do you feel? You still feel good about this? I'm like, yep. We're walking down the aisle. We get to the end of the aisle. You start welcoming people. My dad looks at me and goes, there's still time. And like I told him on the phone 2 days before.
That was subtle, I didn't notice that.
It was very subtle. Like he was just like, there's still time. But thanks. But like even on the call, like when he was talking to me, and I was like, no. Like I know for sure, because like I knew that I wasn't going to say yes unless I knew in like my heart of hearts that this is what I wanted, or this is what I knew was right. Because I mean, sometimes it's like you could be like, yeah, but like there's like a little inclining. And I was like, even if there's like a little bit of that, I'm not even going to say yes to him to get married. So like I told him that, and he was like, all right, okay.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I just, through that, it's just been, God has just been present with me through that, and just feeling, just like constantly relying on him, and like walking through this whole process of like the dating and engagement and like prepping of the wedding. It's just all this stuff that I was just continuously like, okay, like remembering like this is what we're doing, this is the purpose of it, like, and just all those aspects of it. And so, and now we're here, and
awesome.
It's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for sharing a little bit about 2024, what you guys are celebrating, what the challenges were, the struggles were, and how God has just been present in your lives. And we're just thankful that you guys are part of this church family. And we get to kind of journey through these transitions in life with you guys, and we get to help you guys through them as much as we can. So we're so thankful for you guys and just what you bring to our church family, and the blessing you are to us. So round of applause for these guys. Thank you, guys. Throw those right there. We'll have you come back up in a minute, and we're going to pray over you guys too. So at this point, we're going to have Mike and Jamie Valley come up. They're going to be our second interview today. Yeah, get on up here, you guys. So excited to have these guys with us as well. I reached out to Jamie and Mike about 4 weeks ago, And I said, grab those mics. Mike, grab the mics, Mike. I reached out to him about 4 weeks ago, and I said, hey, it's a really good thought we were having, idea about some time to spend on Sunday morning. And as soon as I kind of relayed the idea, Jamie came back immediately. She's like, yes, we'll do this. You were just talking to your mom about how difficult this 24 has been and the transitions we've been in. And she's like, we would absolutely love to share. So it was like perfect timing for you guys. So, but before we get into that, let's have you guys just share a little bit about how you got here, how long you've been here, family, all that stuff. So your history, kind of.
Okay.
Want me to start?
Mike
Go ahead.
Well,
or Jamie.
I guess I'll start with that. I was raised Catholic and went to church every Sunday, and I felt that I had a connection with God from the very beginning. At a young age, I just felt my faith was strong, and as time went on, I didn't think that as I got older and into college that I actually needed to go to church. I just thought that I could find church wherever I was, whether it was at the top of a ski mountain or at the beach or in the woods or wherever it was. I felt that that was good enough for my church. And it wasn't until Mike and I talked and he was like, no, we need to find a church community. And I didn't understand that. And thinking back of how I didn't understand that just seeing this morning,
Yeah,
This is it.
it's totally different. Totally different life.
I couldn't even imagine not being here this morning, a part of all of that,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and so, growing up, I had attended a Vineyard Church in Lewiston, and so I kind of grew up in the Vineyard community. So I was very well versed in how, it is a community. The church is the people, and so as I grew older, I had kind of fallen away. I didn't go to church, in my 20s, and it was kind of this persona that I had created as a young person coming out of high school, just really crazy, really, a party guy.
You crazy?
Yeah, weird. And so it was something that even Jamie, when she first met me, was like, oh, no, I couldn't date him. He's too crazy. So once I met Jamie, it kind of like she, at one point, I was into some things that, I don't want to really just divulge in front of the whole church right now, but it wasn't things that would be bringing glory to God necessarily. So, so Jamie, at one point when we were dating, said, look, I mean, if you're not ready to give this thing up, then that's okay, but I'm not going to be with you. So that was kind of like, oh my, I'm not going to give this opportunity up. So that was kind of the first moment where God worked through Jamie to create the life that, we had both prayed for
Yeah.
previously.
How'd you guys get here?
So I would say, gosh, 6, 7, 8 years ago now, when we had first moved back to Maine, 8, 9,
It's been
11,
12 years.
12
Wow.
years ago.
Yeah, it goes by pretty quick, don't it? Maybe we
I
got
was,
kids.
Yeah, so
It's
I was
like,
actually
what?
I was surfing at Higgins Beach one day, and I looked and I said, that curly-headed dude looks really familiar. Is that Jim Gonder? And sure enough, there it was, Jim Gonder out at the beach surfing. I'm like, hey, Jim, how's it going? He kind of looked at me like, who the? And his eyes got wide. And so that kind of created this relationship where Jim and I would surf together. And then I realized what he did with tile and stuff. And he came, and we had just bought a house in Old Orchard, a decade ago. And he helped us with some stuff over there. And then we surfed together, a lot of fun surf sessions. And then one day he's over there going, man, why don't you guys just come
It's time.
try out our church. You got to come visit us. You got to come check this place out. And finally, I was like, all right,
Well,
let's
that
do
was a
it.
Saturday, and we came the next morning.
The next day.
And we've been here ever since.
Yeah, I remember
So-
that Sunday you guys came.
Yeah.
You came with a friend.
Well, we had
From Hawaii.
Yes, but we had
Oh, no,
also
that was
checked out a couple of other churches. We
okay.
had checked out a couple of other churches where we went in, and this was during COVID, and we went in and we just kind of felt very like we don't belong here at all. And so then when we came here, it was like, oh, hi, this is like family. So we're
Yeah.
kind of been here
Yeah.
ever since, really excited because it was just nice to see other young families here that are also trying to go through, kind of going through the same thing of raising kids in this crazy world.
Yeah.
So,
Not only that, but it was just like the families here that have 3 children, the families here that are homeschooling, the families here that are at the same age as we are with the children the same age as ours. Also, not only that, but the next generation, all the mentors, you probably don't even realize how you've mentored myself and Mike, just you've been through it already. And, little conversations we've had together where it's like, you're going to be okay, you'll get through this, or,
Yeah.
or I'm praying for you.
Yeah. That's family. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We do life together.
well, there's a little
As much as we
backstory.
can. Huh?
There's the little backstory.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to get into it, or do you want to get into the questions, though?
Whatever you want, Chad.
Oh, okay.
That was the backstory.
Oh, that
Really?
was the backstory.
That
Gotcha,
was-
gotcha.
I was like,
there's
wait, what
I
there's
thought
the
you were talking about
backstory.
there's going to be more. I know, we just haven't been able to get rid of you, like, as much as...
Oh, there's more.
As long as there's chicken wings out in the lobby, Mike is here.
Fill up a plate.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's get into 2024. First of all, share with us something that was cause for celebration for you guys during the year, something marketed that you guys can look back on and say, wow, that was amazing.
And I got baptized.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
one
yeah.
thing. I got baptized.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
finally decided that after all these years of, gave my life to Christ a long time ago, but I wasn't really walking the walk for a long time. And then, it's time. It was time. And so, yeah, now I'm sure.
Tell me, how did that experience kind of
Well,
resonate with you?
It's something that I knew I was supposed to do, and there was just kind of like that in your heart. You know that you're supposed to do something, but you kind of just push it off, like, oh, I can wait, and God was just like, you gotta do this. So since then, it's just been. I just feel. I don't feel that anymore. Like, oh, there's something that you're not quite there yet. In your walk. I mean, nobody's really there yet. We're all on
Right.
that walk. So I'm going to continue to walk that walk that I've decided to. And
It's good.
yeah.
Anything else you look back on, celebrate?
We celebrated 15 years married.
Woo!
15
18
years.
years
Yeah.
together.
15.
15 years.
15 years married, 18 years together.
This crazy
so,
lug.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a long time.
Yeah. So
Reflecting on 15 years,
Yeah, I know.
some
Yeah.
thoughts. Thoughts
So,
reflecting on 15 years of
15
marriage.
years. I mean, we've.
Well, the
gone-
first thing Mikey asked, how come he's not 15 years old?
That's good. Yeah. Well,
We want to wait a little
we,
bit.
we,
Yeah.
we wanted to
We waited.
Yeah.
get a few things done
Yeah.
first
Yeah, yeah.
and live some life. And so, yeah, I mean, we went from living in above a garage together to going out and living in Colorado together, and then from there to traveling and living in Hawaii together, and then realizing that to have a family, you need to have. I mean, you don't need to have your family around, but I mean, it sure is a lot easier to
Yeah.
have some family around when you're trying to raise a family. So we decided to come back here and we had a little winter rental in Pine Point, and just saw that we needed to be by the ocean, and that we needed to figure out how we could afford to live by the ocean. And so we found a really
unique property.
Unique,
It was
I
two
guess is
little
the
cottages,
word.
and we lived in one and rent out the other one, and we bought them in 2014. And in 2014, we set a 10-year goal for us, and that brought us to 2024. And we actually met our 10-year goal this year, and it was to have both cottages rented out. But in order to do that, we had to move. And leaving our little safety net, our little comfort zone, where, you know, our children were raised, you know, for 10 years. We walked everywhere in Old Orchard.
Jamie's little snow globe.
Yes, it
of
was
Old
my
Orchard
little,
Beach.
my piece of heaven on earth, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was a big change to
Yeah.
think that.
Would you
we
say
were-
that would be characterized as one of the struggles?
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
having
Yeah.
the transition from
well,
living there to
yeah.
like, yeah,
So it
share
was,
about that.
It was a triumph and a blessing to be able to kind of meet that goal that we had set for ourselves, and to be able to buy a house. And the only reason why is because it was a really, really good deal. Because otherwise, the way the market is, we would never have been able to do it. So it was a blessing to be able to do that, but also a major
It
struggle.
was a challenge, you know.
Yeah.
We bought Mike's parents' house that he grew up in, and the only way we could meet our goal is if we moved out and did that, but that was our only option, and we knew that the challenges that came with it, but we didn't realize how hard the challenges were going to be. We took a huge leap of faith, knowing God would be with us, but man, you know, I don't want to say you doubt him, but in some certain times you're doubting yourself, saying, did we hear him correctly?
Right,
Are
Yeah.
there was a
are
lot
we
of
on
times,
our
yeah.
path or his path that
Right.
he wants for us? And are we doing the right thing? Are we going in the right direction? You know, just so many questions.
Yeah, it was very hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because
Especially when the water was pouring down in our basement from the
Okay,
pipes.
so yeah,
some
so
struggles.
give us an example. Like, what was one of the things that you guys encountered that obviously you weren't expecting, like
So-
in the transition with that new place?
So besides being able to get this house ready that people hadn't really lived in for a while, and just kind of filled with stuff.
Where we are now.
And,
Yeah.
and systems, you know, as far as electrical, plumbing, heating, all of these systems were kind of just barely working.
I
and
should add, it
so-
was not turnkey.
Right,
It was
right.
not turnkey at all.
Somehow we made it work, but I was listening to, we were listening to Caleb on the way home the other night, and God had just had this thing in my head that said, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called, right? And I
Sure.
kept hearing this in my head, and then on the radio, this woman's talking, and she literally says the same words on the radio, and so I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, hon.
Yeah.
And I had to tell her this because I wasn't qualified to be a plumber
Yeah.
and an electrician.
Sure.
I mean, I'm barely a carpenter, so I'm gonna, you know, have to do a major, you know, the first thing was the sewer was backed up.
Yeah.
So my first thing was I had to dig, and I had to deal with some roots that were in the sewer main, and you know, reconnect some things and make it work. So we made that work, and then it was we were doing the flooring for the boys' room. So we ripped all the old carpets out of the house. We was doing some flooring, and I don't know, I saw a wire or something, and I kind of pulled on it, and then the smoke started going, and so I had to go shut off the power to that, and then I had to address that, and turns out there's a live outlet underneath the sheetrock in the wall.
Oh my gosh.
That was all all ungrounded, and so that turned into, okay, I have a lot of electrical to
Yeah.
deal with before. I mean, this is I don't know,
That was
in the spring, I guess. So it was a little before we were going to move in, but I mean, within a couple of months before we were going to move in. So, but luckily I have a good friend who's an electrician. He helped me out, and we got through the majority of the kids' room stuff. So, so they could be in the
Safe.
safe
Yeah.
zone
And
of
not-
electricity.
Yeah. And not have their wall catch on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not good.
So,
So
that's,
It might have helped things though when we weren't living there. Maybe now, I don't
Yeah.
know if the wall caught on fire.
Yeah. So share with us just kind of ending how God has really kind of met you in these moments where you've both celebrated some really amazing things in 2024, but also you've had your share of struggles and difficulties. Share how just you're living with God in these moments and how he is meeting you in these moments.
I'll start. I'm usually a very happy person, and there were some times where I wasn't, happy where we were. And, digging deep and talking with God and trying to see the blessings in the mess of everything. And changing your perspective was a big thing. Having patience was another one. And, then realizing that, it's not everything's perfect right now, and it probably won't be, and that's okay, but realizing that you're living a life that you prayed for. And,
Well, that's good.
it might not be like everything, but to see the good in all of this hard times.
yeah, it just brings me to another incident where we were fixing something and a valve got pulled and we were finished with what we were doing. We were trying to install a wood stove, and then Mikey comes out and he goes, "Dad, the freezer's leaking." And I thought, it's not the freezer's not leaking. I go downstairs and one of the basement rooms is just flooded. And so I kind of like figured out and knew what happened, that it was an old heating pipe that had a hole in it, and
Yeah.
a valve had got pulled by accident. But there's all this stuff in that room. I mean, this room is, 8 by 12 and
Yeah.
freighted, just loaded with stuff. And so it was like one of those moments where I could have been just so angry and so mad, but at the same time, it was like God blessed me with that.
Yeah.
And he said, "You don't have to worry, Mike. Here you go. Now you're going to be able to get rid of all that stuff. And there'll be a reason for it." It's
Yeah.
not like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I struggle a lot of times with change, and getting rid of things, and just getting rid of stuff that doesn't
I can give you some
serve me.
pointers on that.
Yeah, no, I know you could.
I'm like, have I not used them the last week? See ya.
Yeah, no. But
Anyway.
but as going back to earlier where I talked about being really crazy and partying and stuff, and so this past year another cause for celebration is I quit drinking, and I quit. So it's been like 4 months, and quit drinking, quit smoking, stuff. So it's a change that God kind of put in my heart, and he said, "That's not serving me. You being who you are when you're doing that isn't who you are in my eyes."
That's cause for celebration.
So, yeah. So I'll just say that I'm just gonna brag about the guys really quick. Our men's breakfast yesterday was phenomenal, and there was so many guys there that just we can open up together in this church, and I know for a lot of us change is really hard, but man,
Yep.
that is what God is doing.
Yeah.
God is continually changing us
Yeah.
every day. He's changing us for the better. He's changing us for who he wants us to be, who he's called us to be.
Amen.
He's not just going to let us get by with, our plan and who we think we are. And he's just got this great plan for us. And I can attest to the fact that it's not always going to go the way you expect it to go, even if it's in line with what you think God has for you.
Yeah.
Things change. Things are going to be different. They're going to be hard. But everything that God, puts in your life as a challenge is like Karen said earlier, is just a way for God to grow, to help you grow, and to help you be the person that He's called you to be.
Amen.
So yeah.
You start preaching right now if you
Man,
want.
I'm so thankful for this church, because obviously wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be, as matured spiritually right now without this church.
Yeah.
Because I just can't say enough about this family that we have here. So,
Amen.
yeah.
Amen. Give you guys a round of applause.
Thankful.